Hi guys, welcome to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about how to beat any player under 1,000, alright? And I've got 4 tips to share with you guys, so stick around to the end because the last one is probably the most key tip. And I've actually got these written down, so I've done some preparation for today. So against this, I like to play like this, and then we can kick the bishop. Alright? And, you know, so pawn takes, we kick the bishop back, and as black, we win a tempo there. So it's a nice way in the Sicilian to even the playing field against white. Now white will often think they're being all aggressive here and give a check, but it's actually pretty good for us. We can handle this position. They can put on a lot of pressure, but it doesn't actually amount to much in this position. So tip number 1, guys, and it might sound simple, but I know a lot of you guys don't do it because I know I don't do it often. Get castled. Just do it. I know you want to attack, but yeah, just get castled. If they take, yeah, they temporarily double my pawns, but you know, this is a big central pawn mass, and we're going to be able to create pawn pushes with the doubled pawns reinforcing in order to undouble them. All right. So, how do we get castled here? We normally develop like this. So yeah, like I said, we don't mind this doubled pawn. As for example, if they take, we undouble the structure. And it also gives us a nice open file for the rook, but the rook would be slightly blunted by this pawn here. So, in order to pursue this first goal of ours, how do we get castled? So, we could push like this or push like this. I'm thinking, how do we undouble the structure? Because I was thinking if knight here, but then they push, knight here, maybe putting pressure on that pawn. But I think it looks pretty solid for white, to be fair. This push. They definitely don't want to take, because then we undouble the structure, like I say. We could do this voluntarily. This doesn't work, so that leads to a fork. Let's just get the bishop out and follow our own principles and get castled. This pawn push does look annoying, but we'll deal with it. So yeah, if they take, we take, but then here. But then if castled, at least we're defending this pawn with a king, right? So this bishop's going to have less influence long term. But yeah, this bishop is a strong piece. It's definitely white's strongest piece. But now look, they've just closed off their own bishop. So this is sort of a short-sighted move that looks good, but maybe isn't. So here would look to defend this square from this pawn advancing. But I'm very cautious to play this, guys, because this is an undefended piece, right? Let's try it. So that was tip number 1, guys, get castled. Tip number 2 sort of rolls off the tongue of tip number 1, and that is develop your pieces. You know, develop, but at the same time get active, and look for pawn breaks. Decide whether you're going to be playing with your pieces or with your pawns, and how your pawn breaks can allow your pieces to get active. So I've been talking about this doubled pawn structure and how we can maybe use this to try and create a pawn break. For example, now if here we take, so this is sort of a pawn break, trying to open things up as well towards the white king, because they've not followed rule number 1, and they've not got castled yet. But there is a threat here of this, but then we come in here. Queen, if queen here, is the knight trapped? So maybe we want to create a cubby hole for the knight. Yeah, this is annoying. Do we go for this? So if here, then back here though. I think we're alright. I think we can play this pawn break, guys. So we're trying to take advantage that their king is still in the center, right? We're going to crack things open. Wow, that's a funny looking move. Yes, if we could win this pawn now, we could push this, blocking off this bishop potentially, and also hitting this knight. That's what I'm thinking. I guess they're going to try and castle queenside. So maybe we take. Or do we try and push and then lock in this bishop? You know, pushing in the center looks good, but then if take, I think we just take. We start chipping away at their pawn structure, saying you're not going to get castled very easily now. So yeah, they've got an open rook, but We play this, then we can hit the queen, develop with tempo, guys, which we love. So now they're threatening this because our knight escape square is now gone. So now we probably should give the knight a little room to breathe and re-maneuver. I was hesitant about playing this before, guys, because this diagonal for the bishop became really strong. But should be all right now, because white's blocked off this diagonal with their own pawn, right? So third tip to beat anyone under 1,000, guys. Keep it simple. Don't try and take your opponent's head off and try and necessarily win. Just let your opponent lose. They will. They will just fall apart. If you just give them time, play solid move after solid move, and eventually your opponent will fall apart. Sorry, I got a really itchy nose. Yeah, don't try and force the win. So yeah, like I say, we just pivot back now. What's this knight going to do? Try and get maybe to this square? No, it looks a little bit funny. So we've semi-activated our pieces. Maybe we want to put the rook on the open file. This bishop, we had this idea of activating the bishop like this. So if they take, we take. I think we continue with our plan of getting the bishop out like this and hit the queen. This is a strange move, guys. Long-term, strategically, why are they opening up the board even more, where their king is in the center? They're sort of opening up the center now. So if we take like this pawn gets to advance, which is bad for us because this pawn is blocking their bishop. We love their pawn being there. In fact, if I could take it, I wouldn't, you know? But we'll happily do this. Keep the pawn structure connected. Keep this pawn blocking their bishop. Keeping this bishop bad. And that's such a bad move. Isn't it? We just come in with check now. I'll come in with this first, hit the queen, and then if queen moves to one of the dark squares, then we win the queen. Oh, well, maybe this to block, but it doesn't look good for white. Let's hit the queen. So we've got a nice little structure in the center, and now we're moving on. So these 4 points work throughout the game. So you get castled, you're activating your pieces and looking for pawn breaks. We found that pawn break. We're trying to keep it simple. And then number 4, guys, now the next stage of the game is to coordinate your pieces. So for example, like this would be, it'd give a check, but it'd also coordinate with the pawn pretty nicely. This bishop and this bishop would just be looking beautiful, coordinating, cutting off all these squares. Yeah. But to make this move even stronger, bringing the rook to the open file would stop any intervention like this once we give the check. Also this, but this pawn's sufficiently protected. Just lifting the queen looks nice. Then maybe we can try and get in on this square in the future. Let's try that. 5 minutes left. Just making this move even more venomous when it does come, guys. So they're trying to trade it off now. But but now we're getting in with check, because if takes... no, I guess they take with that. This feels very tenuous for our opponent. What if this? If takes this? Then the rook is pretty open. First of all, let's just see if they blunder. They've got to take with the knight, yeah. So otherwise we'd come in with check, guys, and it would be devastating for our opponent. But now, this looks pretty good for us. Just hitting the rook as well, so the king has to go here. But then we get this. Oh no, the king can't go there because the bishop covers. Yeah, it was just looking really sketchy. They pushed all the pawns in the center, guys. This knight, for example, is not looking good, and neither is this. That is not. You should have your knights in the center. That way they can control more squares and coordinate better. So now the king has to go to an awful square. He has to go here, which just is going to lose. Yeah, but now we just grab the rook, right? Unless there's anything better, I think we just take the rook. Queen blocks, we take the knight, and it's all getting nasty. We could even give a check again. Would that do anything? Here. Let's just take the free piece, guys. And now, the only piece I'm not happy with, our queen's obviously doing damage. Our rook and bishop are working together. Bishop doing a great job. Just the last stages of coordinating our pieces now would just be to bring the rooks here and here, really. And then we need to sort our knight out, maybe a little reroute. But I don't think in this position we're going to actually need to do that. Should be able to clean this one up without the knight. But we could look to a break like this if takes. Takes, we get the knight out. Should we open up the board in front of our king? It would help us get to their king, maybe. Or would a rook on the open file be even stronger? You know what, let's play this pawn break. Just to show the power of opening up our knight. Because our knight is the only piece we don't have like coordinating with the position at all. The knight was just staring into this pawn, really. This pawn was dominating our knight. It's not what we want. So I think I'd probably take with the knight. It would leave this pawn weak in some situations, but... So they're not letting us... But we can take here now, and that's a threat. What are they threatening? Nothing. So this, now the pawn is pinned, we've got to realise. So now they've got to maybe move the knight. That does nothing. That's just... It's just not it looks like an attack, but it's not an attack. So maybe back hitting this weak pawn. But then we can complete our coordination, guys, and develop the knight finally. So I know I probably could have just started checking here, but I just wanted to demonstrate the power of coordination and focusing on bringing every piece into the game. We love that. Yeah, so now we're going to win the queen. Hopefully we'll see a little resignation from our opponent here. Just to end the video on a lovely clean note there. So now let's coordinate our final few pieces. Bring the rooks in. So king has to go here. And now, look at that. Coordinating the queen and the rook. Have I mentioned coordinating, guys? So, again, coordinating the rooks and the queen. I know I'm banging on about it at this point, guys, but it is crucial. And, I mean, also this was just hanging. But we'll forget about that. So now, king here. And can we mate? Maybe like this, looking to get this checkmate. And I think it's unstoppable. So, yeah. See if our opponent resigns now, guys. So, get castle. 2, activate your pieces, look for pawn breaks, right? 3, keep it simple. Opponents under 1,000 will make the mistakes. And then 4, as I've mentioned, coordinate your pieces. We love it. I hope that was informative, guys. Leave a like if it was, and cheers. See you next time.